Hi everyone, I'm down the allotment on a beautiful sunny spring evening. But even though it's April and we've had some lovely warm days, don't be caught out because there can definitely still be some very cold weather. And in fact, tomorrow the forecast is apparently snow. So after basking in glorious sunshine for a few days, there might actually be snow, wind and freezing temperatures over the next few days. So it's so tempting to get planting out, but I always refrain if possible, but if you have planted out, then perhaps you need to think about some protection. Depending where you are in the country, that can even run into early May. But one thing I cannot wait to start sowing are beetroot. I love beetroot. It's one of my favourite crops to grow. There's so many different varieties. These are some that I'm going to be sowing this year. The rainbow beetroot, look at that. A couple of years ago I grew these and I chopped them up and put them in kind of rainbow colours and pickled them in a jar. Oh, they looked amazing, but they didn't just look amazing, they tasted really good as well. Something I really love about beetroot as well is that each of those seeds is actually a cluster of seeds. So there's more than one seed per cluster, just taking one out of the packet. So that tiny little kind of very rough seed is actually a cluster of perhaps 3 or 4 seeds. So you can sow them relatively thinly and then you can just thin them out as they grow. I tend to find that beetroot don't really like to be handled and transplanted too much. So I tend to sow them direct where I want them to grow. So if you're sowing them now and there is any cold weather coming along, then perhaps give them a little bit of protection, otherwise just wait another few weeks. Or of course sow them under cover. I'm going to be sowing mine in trays, of course, here in the Rhino greenhouse. And thinking about where they want to grow eventually, they not like a nice sunny site. They will tolerate a little bit of shade, not too much, and well-drained soil, that's for sure. And just watching those roots grow from that tiny seed is just absolutely fabulous. I love them so much. So yeah, that's April. I'm here down the allotment at the moment. Thankfully, I do have the Rhino greenhouse to save some of my plants. But because we're due to have these awful weather conditions coming, I'm going to put a fleece over my apricot tree to try and save those lovely buds. And I'm also probably going to just put a thin layer of horticultural fleece over some of my more tender seedlings as well. And once all of that weather has passed, we will well and truly be into spring and our gardens and allotments will be thriving. So happy April gardening.